Hi, welcome to Research Spotlight. I'm Dr. Kasie Lee, and I am an assistant professor in the Clinical Mental Health Counseling Program at Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm also the director of our Center for Play Therapy and Expressive Arts, and I'm the lead faculty for my play therapy specialization. We did our study with parents of children who are participating in child-centered play therapy. Our study was one of the very first to investigate parents' perceptions of working with their child's play therapist. And so we designed a mixed methods study that would allow us to really investigate their subjective experiences of working with play therapists, of what was most important to them. And so what we did is we created a special survey called a Q-sort, which was basically a list of 40 items or qualities, services of what has typically been recommended by CCPT experts that play therapists should do with parents, or how they should be with parents. And what we have them do is rank order those 40 things from most important to least important. And after they did that, I individually interviewed each one of them to give them an opportunity to further explain what was most important to them and why, or what was least important to them and why. So we had their survey responses, but we also had their interview responses to give us a pretty complex understanding of what was really most important to them in terms of working with the play therapist who was working with their child. So what we found a lot of really interesting information, but to summarize it, we kind of looked at what was most important to these parents and what was least important to these parents. And what we found was what was most important to them is that their child's play therapist really had expert knowledge on play therapy and child development, and that knowledge was gained through high quality training and supervision. And at the same time, they were able to use that knowledge to help the parents really understand what was happening in play therapy for their individual child and how that was actually helping their child for whatever reason the parent had originally brought them in. And at the same time, the play therapist was able to teach the parent new skills to use at home. So it wasn't just what was happening in the playroom, but it was help me understand based on my individual child's needs, what's happening in the playroom and how I can be more helpful at home. So that's what was most important to them. And then what was least important to them was completing therapy as quickly as possible, which was a really interesting finding because as clinicians, we all know that we face that pressure constantly. But for these parents, that was the least important to them, of completing therapy quickly. They also shared that they weren't really concerned about integrating technology into sessions or the therapeutic process in terms of the therapist's website or online scheduling or things like that. That wasn't important to them. And it also wasn't important that the play therapist had experience being a parent themselves, which was really interesting because we get that question a lot of, do you have children? Especially new play therapists who are young. They get that question a lot. But for these parents, that was on the least out of all 40. That was one that they consistently reported least, that was not important to them. Something fun or maybe interesting. So what we did is we interviewed a wide variety of parents, and with the research method that we used, We were anticipating finding groups of parents that would have varying values. So we expected that maybe different types of parents value different things for different reasons. But what we found was every single parent who was in our study, except for one, sorted their values very similarly. So there was a very strong consensus among all of our participants about what was important and what was least important. And that was really surprising. We weren't expecting that. So if you want to read more, this article has been published in the International Journal for Play Therapy. And we thank you for watching.